Assalamualaikum. Sharing with you another example of social movement, the anti-bullying movement, and I think we are all familiar with this movement. What about bullying? Bullying is the use of force, threat, or coercion to abuse, intimidate, or aggressively dominate others. The behavior is often repeated and habitual. One essential prerequisite is the perception by the bully or by others of an imbalance of social and physical power, which distinguishes bullying from conflict. Behaviors used to assert such domination can include verbal harassment or threat, physical assault or coercion. Such acts may be directed repeatedly towards a particular targets. So that's all about bullying. So in the picture, there are types of bullying: the social, telling other to the kids, especially to the kids, not to be friends with someone, or excluding others, or spreading rumors. That's under social bullying. Then of course, the physical, hitting, stealing, hair pulling, breaking someone's things, pushing, etc. So physical. Then of course, the verbal bullying, like threats, teasing, hurtful comments. Then now, the cyber bullying, of course, by the use of the social media. So in the physical bullying, as we mentioned, includes hitting, kicking, tripping, pinching, unforcing, or damaging property. Then under verbal bullying, name calling, insults, teasing, intimidation, homophobic or the racist remarks, or the verbal abuse. Then under covert or social bullying, this is a sort of bullying often harder to recognize and can be carried out behind the bullied person's back. It is designed to harm someone's social reputation and or cause humiliation. So that's under social bullying. So nangyayari ito kadalasan sa mga kabataan o kahit na sa atin minsan, mga adults. The covert bullying includes also lying and spreading rumors, negative facial or physical gestures, menacing or contemptuous looks, playing nasty jokes or to embarrass and humiliate, mimicking unkindly, encouraging others to socially exclude someone, then damaging someone's social reputation for social acceptance. That's under social or covert bullying. Then of course, now because of the modern technology, we have the cyberbullying. This is a type of bullying that takes place using electronic technology. Electronic technology includes devices and equipment such as cell phones, computers, and tablets, as well as communication tools including social media sites, text messages, chat, and the websites. So what about the causes of this bullying? Want to get noticed? They like having power over other peers, especially to the young people. They have problems at home, of course. Think it's cool and funny. Aggressive personality, lack of adult supervision, jealousy, revenge, take their feelings out on others. Those are the causes of bullying. What about the effects? Sa mga kabataan natin, ito yung problema. Ulitin ko, sa mga nakakatanda din. The effects are low self-confidence, depression, suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts, abnormal fears and worries, sleep disorders, nervous habits, frequent crying, bedwetting, poor appetite and digestive problems or digestive problems, then school problems and rage. Those are the effects of this bullying. And we have the law, the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. So medyo bago-bago pa, 2013. So we have to stop this. Kaya nga this movement, the anti-movement bullying, the anti-bullying movement. So there's a need to stop. Kasi we know the effects. We know the causes. So we have to stop. Kaya nga stop stands also for stand up to bullying. Open your eyes. People need help. So for us professionals, we have our responsibility to stop this bullying. So the Republic Act number 10627, this is an act requiring all elementary and secondary schools to adopt policies to prevent and address the acts of bullying in their institution. That's in the elementary as well as in the secondary schools. So that's why if you notice our children, palagi nila itong tinatalakay. Then in section 1, this act shall be known as Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. Section 2, the acts of bullying. For purposes of this act, bullying shall refer to any severe or repeated use of a written, verbal, physical act, and others. Then in section 3, under this act is adoption of anti-bullying policy. All elementary as well as secondary schools are hereby directed to adopt policies to address the existence of bullying in the respective institutions. Such policies shall be regularly updated and at the minimum shall include. Then the section 4, the mechanisms to address bullying. The school principals and any others who holds a comparable role shall be responsible for the implementation and oversight of policies intended to address bullying. It is also determined that bullying or retaliation has occurred. The school principals or a designated school officers or person shall, letter A, notify the law enforcement agency if the school principal or designee believes that criminal charges under the revised penal code may be pursued against the perpetrator. B, take appropriate disciplinary administrative action. And C, notify the parents or guardians of the perpetrator and notify the parents or guardians of the victims regarding the action taken to prevent any further acts of bullying or retaliation. In section 5, the reporting requirement. All schools shall inform the respective schools division superintendents in writing about the anti-bullying policies formulated within 6 months from the effectivity of this act. Such notification shall likewise be an administrative requirement prior to the operations of the new schools. Then in section 6, sanctions for non-compliance. In the rules and regulation to be implemented in pursuant of this act, the Secretary, especially the Department of Education, shall prescribe the appropriate administrative sanctions on school administrators who shall fail to comply with the requirements under this act. In addition, thereto, erring private schools shall likewise suffer the penalty of suspension of their permits to operate. Then in section 7, implementing rules and regulation, within 90 days from the effectivity of this act, the Department of Education shall promulgate the necessary rules and regulation to implement the provision of this act. 8. Section 8, Separability Clause. If, for any reason, any provision of this act is declared to be unconstitutional or invalid, the other section or provision, then the Section 9, the referring clause, all laws, decrees, orders, rules, and regulations, or parts thereof, which are inconsistent with or contrary to the provisions of this act are hereby repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Then in Section 10, the effectivity. This act shall take effect 15 days after its publication. So there is a saying here, I won't be bullied, I won't be judged, I won't be silent, I am not ashamed, I am strong, I am proud to be me. So thank you. I hope we learned something of this presentation.